So, hello YouTube. Welcome to Try and Catch Coding. This is a new YouTube channel that basically just has the idea to have fun, code together, do little projects. Um, in YouTube, I've been seeing that there's not that many tutorials that really goes through a small little software project from A to B for beginners, or basically just showing a whole process of making a little program. I'm a very beginner at Java programming, so this tutorial is really made for beginners. It would be good if you have a little experience in coding, but we'll go through the main things here. Um, but the idea today is to make a timer, but a little more sophisticated timer than just a basic timer. I'll show you what the results of this little tutorial project here will be. So it's a timer, you can see it here, and this is the project we want to here in this tutorial series try to program in try and catch coding. So the timer is a timer. It has basic functionality. You just can punch in, for instance, some minutes here, 12 minutes. You can add those. The display will be refreshed and shows you the minutes to count down. Then we have a button here to execute the timer. The timer will count down. When it reaches 0, it is able to get access to a stream, an audio stream, and play a WAV file. So you can actually just put in any WAV file, and with the code we'll be writing, Java will be able to play that file when the counter is to 0. Then the button automatically changes from start to stop, as you see. We can stop the timer, we can reset the timer, um, and the timer can do a little more than that. We can also punch in a date here, so I can say like today is the 20, the year, and then I can punch in a date, let's say a date in April, say the 6th of April, and I can punch in a certain time and then add this, and it will tell me it's that date, that special event is going to be in 28 days, 14 hours, and um, 42 minutes. And then I can enter here what kind of event that is. So in that case, I can say like, oh, this is going to be SpaceX launch, SpaceX launch, or basically any event that is going to be that you want a countdown for. So we can add that and start the timer, and you'll see that here the display updates. It's going to be a SpaceX launch in 28 days, 14 hours and 41 minutes and so many seconds. Uh, then we can obviously we can, with the reset button, we can delete all that, but the timer can do a little more too. You can also save an event, or I already saved an event, so you can load an event. So in this case, it's Doomsday, and Doomsday is going to be in 26 days and 14 hours and 29 minutes. Counting now, the Earth is going to abolish into thousands of pieces of stardust. So basically, that's what we're going to be doing today. So, or not today, but through this whole series here. I already mentioned what programs you're going to need to follow along this tutorial. So we will be needing the Netbeans IDE, which is a freeware program. You can download it. There's a lot of instructions on YouTube that show you how to do this. And then in this program, we'll be using this program to program our graphical user interface. So all these buttons, displays, and everything, we'll use Netbeans for that. And the coding, the actual coding, I'll be using Visual Studio Code for this, but you can use any IDE that you prefer. Doesn't really matter. But those you'll need uh, two. You'll need another IDE uh, that goes along with NetBeans. That's quite important. You'll see why later. So I would say let's get started. Let's start with making this little fancy timer. Okay, well then let's get right started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open NetBeans IDE, and we're going to start by opening or creating a new project. So new project. Java with Ant is our option here, and we want to build a Java application. So we're just going to select that right away. The next thing is we need a project name, and I'll call this data counter because, oops, not data, so we want date counter because it counts dates um, until a specific event, or it can just be a normal timer. We do not want to create a main class, so we'll just leave this option unchecked and then go to finish. So up here we can see our project. That's the date counter. That's exactly what we want. And here we see the file structures, source code. And what we're going to do here is the first thing we want to create is a Java package. So that's our package where all our class files are going to go. We're going to call this, yeah, you can call it anything, my package. It doesn't really matter. My package, why not? It's my package. Finish. And under this new package, we are gonna create a JFrame. And that JFrame can be the graphical user interface, or we can just call it, let's call it the date counter. Um, yeah, the date counter, why not? Great. So we have now created a JFrame, and this is basically our canvas where we're going to draw the GUI. So what we have here is like basically a program, a background with absolutely no functionality. The timer is going to be somewhat about this size. And the first thing we want to do is create a panel. So we can just go here in this program. Here's where we add in NetBeans all these different functionalities to create a program. And the first thing what we want to do in our JFrame here is to add a panel. And the panel is basically the background of our program. Um, and we just want to make this background the size of the frame itself. So we'll just blow this up till that size. And I'd like to change the color. So basically we see that the background frame is a different color than our panel that we just created. So make sure that the J panel 1 is selected, and we can go here down here to the properties, and in the properties the background color we want it this nice gray uh, that you can see or that you saw on the timer. So thumb, and already our J panel 1 will have um, this color. Now we can change the name here. So let's do that, change variable name, uh, and we'll just call this the background. So every time we refer to this, this is going to be our background. Great, so we have that already set up. Next thing we want to do is we're going to have another panel. So we're just going to now drag this panel here on top of the other panel, and this is going to be our display size. So I thought in my version I had the display was maybe a little too small, so I'm not going to take too much time to make now a perfect interface, but you can use the time, or you can fiddle around as much as you want to make this perfect for you. But I'm gonna say about this is this. Well, this looks pretty good to me. And here I'm also gonna change this um, panel here, this J panel, change the name, and I'm going to change it to display because that's what it's going to be. It's going to display our timer. Great, so this is now our display, and we want to make that color black. So make sure that it's selected, display is here selected, then go to the display properties, go to background down here, click on the color option, go to black and press enter, and you see here that's our display. What do we need next? We need a button, so let's drag and drop a button right here. Let's make it a little bigger, a little fatter, something like that. Great. And for now, yeah, we can change. Let's change the name of this button too. So we're gonna change the variable name. So basically edit text. So if I have here the option edit text, this is where I can address what the button, what's the name of this button. We don't want to call it J button 1. We want this button to start our timer. So that's exactly what we want this button, the name of this button to be. So we'll go edit text and we'll say, hey, let's make this our start button. Okay, so that's already changed. But for the code, this is the name of the variable. So every time we address this button in our code, that's the name of the button. And so we're going to go here and change that variable name, and we're going to set that variable name to, let's call that, yeah, we'll call that start button. All right, so that's the start button. And then we'll drag and drop another button into here, make it the same size, make it a little something like that. Oh, we want it here nicely aligned to the display. Yeah, something like that. Same thing here, we can select this button right down here, then go to edit text, and we'll change this to reset, because that's going to be a reset button. Great, so we got that already done. And now we just need to change the variable name, and we'll call this reset button. All right, so start button, reset button. Now, while we're at it, why not? We can change here. So we're going to go to the start button, select the start button, go down to the properties where we can change. Here are all the different options that we can change the style and the look of these buttons, and we want this button to be a nice little silver touch. So we're going to go here to background, set the background to nice light silver color, and then we'll go, we want this start here to be the text to be a little bigger, so we'll go here to font, open that, and then we'll select that to something around 24, make it bold. Maybe that might be a bit too big. Let's see. Yeah, I like the font, so let's see if that's good. Yeah, for my taste, it's a bit too big. I'll go one down. Maybe let's see if 18 works better for me. Yeah, 18 works better for me. And then I'd like to change the button color to white. I would like that to be white. Oh, that's the background. Let's change that back again. Make that silver and make the text. So that's going to be foreground here. So that's basically, background is the color of the button and foreground is the color of the text. So we're going to make that white. All right. I think I'm happy with that. Now let me see how that looks. So if we want to preview and see how this looks after we run the code, we can just press this play button here, press OK, and now let's see. It's okay, but this is too light for me, so I would like to have this button darker to see the start better. Yeah, all right, so close it here. Select that again, and we'll go to the background option and make that a little darker. Let's see how that works. Oh, much better. Yeah, that's much better. All right, great. So I like to make my reset button red, but you can make it any color you want. So let's see here. That should be red. Then I want the text to be white. 18 in size, bold, and let me see if I can get the other timer out just to compare what I did there. Okay, so we kept it black and the background's white. Yeah, I like that. I like that. So let's see how that works. Yep, that works for me. I think this gap is too big, so I'm just going to close in this gap. But anyway, yeah, I think that's much better. But you can basically design this any way you want. You don't really need to, yeah, make it, be creative, make it any color you like. Great. So the next thing we want to do is we want to add um, a J text field. So that's the text field we're going to add when we want to add a date, specific event, and then we need another J text field. So we're going to grab that and pull it down here, and we're going to add that somewhere here. And that's going to be where we enter our hours, and we have a next one, so we're going to grab a next one and add it somewhere here. And that's going to be where we enter our minutes if we want the timer just to count down hours and minutes. Great. So then we need another button, so we're going to do that. We're going to add this button down here, and this button's basically going to be our add button. So as soon as we punch in the numbers, that's going to be our add button. Now, yeah, let's start by editing the text. Right click, and we're going to say call this the add button. And again here, I select the button, go down here, go to font, change the size to 18, make it bold. So the ad is bigger. And then we can, for me it's too big. It doesn't necessarily need to be that big. So I'll go make it 14. Yeah, that's enough. I'd like this button to be, the background to be silver too. So I think I'll make these buttons this color here. Let's see. I think I selected another gray, but yeah, I'd like them to be a little darker here. Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that color. Okay, so we'll go here and make that. Oh, I forgot forgot what color I used. So the color was 153, 153, 153 here. So that's what I want. Yep, that's 153, 153, 153. So whenever you chose a color and you want the same color for another, but you can always look at these numbers down here, and that will be the exact color. And we want the foreground, so we want the text to be white. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And now let's press play and see how that works. Yep, that's great. The add button's here, start here, and reset there. So already we're getting quite some progress. We haven't written a code, not one line of code yet, but the program basically doesn't have any functionality, but it looks nice. So now we also want to add labels here. So we want the user to know what he has to type in these text fields. So we use that with labels. Here we can label them. So I'm just going to drag and drop that up here, make it a little bigger. Uh, right click on this label and say edit text. And here I'm going to say enter event date. And then I'm going to give a hint on how the input's going to have to be. So the format the user has to type in, so the code will detect that what he types as a date. So that's going to be year, 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 year. That's the format we want. Then we're going to have a line. So my English is not perfect. So I'm actually from Switzerland. So I don't really know what these, it's just a line for me. I don't know what they're called in English. So we have year, year, year. Then we have month, month. That's the format we're going to use. Then we're going to say day, day, right? And then we'll make a space here. And then the time's going to be hours in two digits and minutes in digits. All right, so that's the format. Then we're going to make this a little bigger so we can actually see the whole thing. And again, when it's selected, I can go down here and change the properties. I want the writing to be white and I want them to be bold. All right, let's see, did that work? Yeah, but the color didn't change. So here, change that to white. All right, great. So then we need another JLabel. And I think I'm just going to add these two and then change the variable names and then we'll proceed with the next video, in the next video. So edit text. So this is going to be, we're going to call this enter time. So this is just when you want to enter time without having a specific date. And I'm going to pull this a little higher, and then I'm just going to take another another label, going to put it down here. So enter time, and we want here the user to enter hours. And then we're going to drag another label down here. And here we're going to edit text again. And here we're going to say minutes. So we got quite some work to do. We want this to be bold. We want this to be white. Nope, here, white. There we go. And we want this to be, we can select both. This is actually faster. I just realized this. So that's good. That helps. So we're gonna make these bold, and we're gonna make these white. Great. All right. The only thing I don't like here is I don't want here to be text. I don't want this to be JText field 1. So we're just going to say edit text and delete this. All right, so that's going to be empty. And the same thing here, right click, edit text, and this is going to be empty, but I don't want it to be smaller. And here I'm going to edit text, pull that out and pull that again here. Now these should be approximately the same length. Yeah, that's good enough for now. All right, so let's play, run the project and see how this looks. Looks like we're getting a timer here done. Great. Well, thanks for watching this first tutorial. We have our GUI almost done, and next time we'll start writing code. Have a great one.